All right, all right. Morning, good morning, good morning. Morning, Spud. Hope you're okay. And morning, the rest, of course. How's everybody doing today? Hope everybody is well. I was just, if you would have slept like the last 24 hours, nothing changed, right? So if you was in this morning talks yesterday and you got in now, Bitcoin didn't move in the 24 hours while it did like move like crazy. Um, well, yeah. Then we're just not talking about the crypto bit. Um, yeah, I get that. I get that. Especially like days like yesterday, right? It was crazy. Well, if you look on lower time frame, it's like these moves are like I said. So this was yesterday when we were talking, and this is today when we were talking. We are talking. So it's like yeah, nothing happened, right? Uh, but we had like this big move, which just got like sold on the overnight. So we had a 5% move yesterday, and we moved down 5% overnight. So yeah, that basically sums up crypto at this moment, I guess. Um, and not much we can do about it. Let's just go off what we think charts will do. Again, and I'll say the same as I said yesterday. Yesterday I said, okay, we're below all these EMAs, so bearish at the moment. Then we had this big move up. We look at Bitcoin, and we traded above. So I would have looked for a retest here, but well, we just fell through. So yeah, and it's just something we need to deal with at the moment, right? Yeah, that's a great question. That's a great question. Um, and of course, there's a lot of talks, and a lot of people will say, yeah, it's manipulation. Um, and yeah, I do agree. Crypto is one of the most manipulated markets. Um, because you and me and any other retail investor cannot move markets like what we see on the chart. No way your $100 or $500 or even 5K buy moves Bitcoin that much. So we're talking about big amounts of money to move markets. Um, and that's probably like institutions and market makers, um, Binance, that actually, or well, at some way um, guide the market certain ways. Um, but again, you can always say what it is actually that is going on. And like I was thinking about it, like if you talk about or if you look at the market, like yeah, it's continuously, constantly manipulated. Um, you're at risk of actually building an emotional attachment to the market. Why? Because you start thinking, okay, they manipulate me, and it becomes a they instead of just objective information. So yeah, the market makers, institution, whoever it is, it becomes more personal. So I was thinking about it. If you focus too much on that manipulation part, you forget about like the technical analysis part and the objective part of what you see, and especially in trading. So if you day trade, and if you got to look at the charts and say, okay, I'm just looking objective at it, rather than okay, so somebody manipulated here because else we didn't see this move down. Like how much volume is that, right? We can see that, I think, if we measure it. There's volume. Yeah, like 5.47 billion volume on the up. So that was $5.47 billion worth in this move up. And then in this move down, again, 5.97 billion. So $6 billion exchanged from sellers to buyers in that amount of period. So that's the amount of money it takes to move a chart like Bitcoin. So But what I wanted to say is, okay, so you look at it like from that manipulation perspective. Yeah, they manipulate us. What happens is if you trade from that idea, you don't start to look, or you stop to look objectively at the chart and make it personal. Like, okay, so I want to get back at them, or you get angry at them. So it's basically what I want to say. Yeah, there is manipulation going on, but what you want to do is, if you look at the charts, just go off technical analysis. Fixed range volume profile. What it says is it just gives you a range where, well, that's for people that don't know fixed range volume profile. What it is, it gives you the overview of where most volume was in a certain time frame, certain period. So if you see this move up here and you want to know where was the most amount of money traded, so the biggest volume, because it doesn't always say that it was this candle, it probably is, but a fixed range volume profile can show you. So you start at the beginning of the move that you want to measure, and you can end at the top of the move, so from the low to the high. And what it does, it shows you it shows you the kind of volume that was traded during that move. Well, I need to let me clear this a little bit up so we can see it better. Let's clear the chart. So as you can see what happened, if I want to know where most volume was in this move, you'll see that it's below here. So it gives you a value area high and a value area low, and then it gives you a point of control. And the point of control is used mostly because that is the point where most trading took place. So as you can see, we had a move up here, but the biggest volume in this move up was at the lows. And as you can see, if you now extend it, where is the top here? So if we now extend it to like this one, as you can see, we are still at point of control, just above it. So as you can see here, it acts as support and resistance. Some people like to use it as like an added confluence. I think exactly the way you're using it, it just depends on what move you want. And some people will use a range because you can zoom out, let's say for the 4 hours, and you want to know, okay, where was most trading took place. I have a fixed range volume profile here on this whole move down, and if we extend it to today, you will see a couple of things. You will see that most volume was traded on this black line. So this is the point of control. And as you can see here, we bounced off it, then we got down, we went to the value area low. We rejected off the point of control and we swept or deviated above it again. So now we're still below this whole range. So if you have the volume. So basically it depends on what move are you trading. Are you trading on, I would suggest always taking it from highs to lows. But there's different ways of using it. You can, for example, also say, okay, I want to know the fixed range volume profile. So I want to, well, yeah, for scalping, it's the same. What I mean is you need to, and I'm not sure if it's a good tool to use for scalping personally, but you got to find out how it works for you. So if you have a move up and you want to know the volume of that move, then you just, go from the low to the high. If you're trading a range, so if you're range trading up and down, you can select the whole range. So again, it's just a tool and you can use it. And I think the hardest part is with any tool, with any indicator, you can use it in 100,000s of different ways. You can trade 100,000 of different ways. But personally, if I use it from the highs to the lows to see where most volume was in a downtrend or an uptrend. So, and if there's the more volume or the more the bigger the range gets that you take, like if you take this whole range from the start here to the end, you will also see, okay, so in this period, in this fixed range, most volume was traded around the 108K area. So that's basically, it doesn't matter. What I would say is, it doesn't matter if you're scalping or higher time frame trading. What I mean is, do you want to know, like, and that's what you should ask yourself if you trade a certain strategy, is that, do you trade based on just one move, like one move up and then want to catch a reversal to the upside or a continuation to the upside, or are you range trading? Because if you're range trading and you need it as added confluence, you will, in my opinion, need to know the whole volume profile of the whole range. So I think there is was it? Well, maybe it depends on where you draw it from, because if you leave this out, for example, so if you leave this volume out, things change, and that's, oh, it's the wrong one, sorry. Things can change quite a bit. Like if you see, if you use this from this move, from this low, and you use the whole range, you'll see that it's around 118K. So it is also, and I'm not, how do you say it? I'm not too much educated on actual fixed range volume profile, who that ever made, to tell you, okay, this is the proper way to use it. But again, like in trading, I always tend to say, okay, if you use a tool and it works for you in your strategy, the way you use it, then it's a good way to use it. So there is no actual one way. And I think that is what makes trading so fascinating, and what makes it at the same time so complicated and hard for a lot of people to get to a point that they actually feel how do you say, feel confident enough to actually trade on themselves continuously. Why? Because we always look at other people. Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's great. And I think if you want, Chris, you should follow, or you should watch that. Isn't it in? Give me a second. I'll look it up. I think it's in one of the classrooms. Wasn't it there? Education. I think just the classroom. Yeah. Here, masterclass on volume profile. Go watch this. I'll need to watch it also. So that's his way of using it, and but again, what I say, or the thing that I think for a lot of people, here it goes. There it is. Go watch that video. I think what it is, like what I was saying with trading, is that there is no one. Yeah, exactly. There is no one way, but again, there's no one way of using it, and that's with every indicator. That's with every, with everything you do inside trading. If it works for you, it works. But if it works, it should always be based on objectivity. So if you start using is the volume profile, you mean, is very subjective, or just as a whole? Not sure what you meant there as to. Morning, Jay. Morning. Now, because it's if you trade in a certain way, it needs to be as objective as possible. So if you explain your strategy to someone else should get like almost exactly the same POIs you have, and that's how you can try to make it more objectively based on what you see on the chart, rather than yeah, I do believe, and that's like I said, it's not only volume profile. That's just like whole of trading, which is like, yeah, messing with our heads again. Because, and I've talked about this earlier and in different sessions, and um, it keeps coming back because that is what it is in real life. Well, real life trading is also real life, but in our day-to-day life and how society is built and our systems and systems, school systems, we are taught that if you want to become a plumber, you need certain certificates. You need certain things that you need to learn to become a plumber. It's with everything. If you want to become a doctor, you need to learn this, and if you can do this, then you're a doctor. Um, Name any occupation, and it has like a guideline of what you need to know and what you need to do to become good at it, right? Um, Unless it's trading, because there's again hundred thousands of different ways to look at trading, and what we need to let go of is that there is not just one rule book that guarantees that if you follow it, you'll become a good trader. Um, and at the same, and also need to add to that it's not about knowing your technical analysis only. There's a reason why I'm called the mindset trader and not the technical analysis trader, right? Because 80% of it is also emotionally and being able, even if you have like the best strategy out there that gives you 80% win rate or whatever, it doesn't matter. If you're not okay and if you're not ready to deal with the emotions that come with it, then you can have like all the technical analysis and know everything and all the data and all that kind of shit, but if you're not mentally ready for it, you will absolutely not make it as a trader. You can have like a win streak and like the 1, 2, 3 wins in a row and then think, yeah, okay, I got it, I found it out, this is what it is, and yeah, this is what I going to do the rest of my life. And you start to imagine, man, if I make even $100 a day, man, that's 3K a month. So, and then your head gets away with you. I bet everything on it that each and every one of you had that moment that you put on some trades and you had some winners and you had a good day, and at the end of the day thinking, wow, man, imagine I would be doing this every day. And then you start calculating and you start imagining the figures and start, well, fantasizing about what you could do with your life if it was that easy making money. And that's when it goes wrong, because that's when you let emotions get to you, and that's when you start focusing on the money rather than you focusing on the process. And especially those kind of moments usually come when everything feels right and everything feels good and you're going up and you see your trading balance grow, until the moment you have some setbacks, right? Because it's mathematically a fact that if you trade long enough, that you will always hit a losing streak. If you trade the same thing over and over and over again, you will hit a losing streak at some point. And most people cannot bear that thought, or well, not even that thought, but when it actually happens, most people can't cope with that. Especially if you start out and you win a couple of times and you start with winning, you will start to feel invincible and you will start to feel like, yeah, it's this easy. This is going to be my life between now and 2 months. So, but it's not. And I think that is something a lot of people forget or don't think of. And again, it's that emotional part mixed with the fact that you can be profitable trading any strategy. If you have it all right between the ears and under your hood, you don't need like 100,000 of different tools. You don't need Like you can win in trading with basic technical analysis. Um, but what a lot of people do, or what a lot of time happens, is okay, people start trading, they learn a concept, and it goes well a couple of times until it doesn't, because there's always a point that the market doesn't work with you. You get liquidated because, well, flash crashes happen. And then what happens is people do that, and after they say, okay, yeah, shit, it doesn't work anymore. So like they take 3, 4, 5 losses in a row, and they say, yeah, fuck, I need another strategy, or I need to know more about this, or need to know more about that. And well, they start reading up on something else, or they see somebody in the Discord using a certain strategy and shows his wins, but doesn't shows his losses. Right? A lot of people try to or are okay with showing their wins but not showing their losses. Um, so that idea of being able to cope with losses, that is like the biggest part of it. You need to, of course, you need to know how to win and how to take profits, but the biggest part is you need to know how to be completely okay with losing. And that's, again, it ties down to how we are raised and how our system is built and society works. um, Losing is something very negative, and it has a negative feeling about it. And because we're always taught that you need to do everything right, like in school system you get grades based on what you do good, and if you don't do it well enough, then, well, you don't get a good grade, and then you're not good enough. And that's like what's like sort of that's our blueprint. And what you need to is that, especially in trading, that you are okay with well, with losing. Losing doesn't say anything about you personally. It doesn't say anything about your level of technical analysis, because losing is should be the same as winning. And also the emotions involved in winning should be the same as involved in losing. So if you win and you feel invincible and you feel euphoric and you want to brag about it, you want to show it everybody, you want to say, yeah, look, I made 1K today. Those feelings, and I said that yesterday, I think also, those feelings get amplified into the negative side if you lose. So if you are like euphoric on every win that you take, and you're shouting it out, and you're happy and celebrating it in a overreacted way, you will also overreact on losers. So basically, what, yeah, bottom is where it boils down to is that you don't, yeah, you need to feel nothing. Like you don't. Of course, you need to celebrate milestones, but yeah, just be cool with whatever it happens. And of course that takes work and that takes time, and I'm not saying you should never be happy or euphoric or whatever, but you need to understand how much emotions actually, well, how much emotions actually, how do you say it, how much emotions actually dictate in your actions. So if you don't control your emotions, they will eventually tell you what to do subconsciously. And you want to be, well, you don't want to be that person that lets their emotion decide their decisions. Because what happens, we all know that. We all have been through situations where we let our emotions run, right? Whether that be yelling at our kids, or shouting at somebody, or being irritated and frustrated by somebody or something. And especially, I think the most clear example is when you're, let's say, you're in a relationship and you have a fight and a frustration and you're irritated and you're angry at somebody. We all been there, saying things, or to our kids, saying things that we don't mean, but we just let it out, and we don't have any control over it. until after it. And then we start thinking, okay, shit, what did I just say, man? I'm sorry that I said this. I didn't mean it. No, but you said it. And that's exactly the point where emotions take over. And if you feel like what Stu posted, like a roller coaster during a trade, you're too, how do you say it? You're too attached to it in a certain way. And what you need to ask yourself is, okay, what is the attachment I have to my trades? Am I too attached to the money that's on the line? And if that is the attachment, then you're probably trading with too much money. So your risk is too high. But the attachment can also be, this must work because I have so much relying on it, and I need out of the life that I have. Or maybe you already took steps in your life based on the idea that you could be profitable trading in a while. And so if I give myself 6 months and I have some money set aside, so I'll just go out of my job right now, and then I'll see in 6 months' times I'll probably make enough money to live off trading. And then that 6 months is way too short to get there. So yeah, I think what I'm saying is that for you to also research the attachment you have towards your trading, and ask yourself, okay, what is it that I either consciously or subconsciously have as a goal? And when I'm too much emotionally during trades, what can I do about that? Does it get less if I don't check the charts? Let's say you enter a trade, and I know 90% of you enter a trade, whether it's your own trade or a signal you follow, and you will be hooked to the charts. You will be looking at it continuously. Oh, is it going up? Is it going up? Oh, is it going down? Is it going down? But especially if you just follow signals, just let it be. And you will hear if it either hits stop loss. I think a lot of people, and then again comes the fact that a lot of people can't take losses because they're too attached. So that could also be the attachment. I'm afraid of losing. And if you're afraid of losing, like I said, you either have too much money at stake. That could be why you're afraid of losing. But it could also be like something internally that says, okay, I was taught, or people taught me that losing is not okay. And in trading, losing is what it is. Losing is part of winning. You can't win if you can't lose. That's simple. You can't win if you can't lose. So start learning to lose. That should be the first thing. And then technical analysis, and then being able to take losses. And of course it helps if you know, or if you journal. And that's again why everybody should journal, because even if you follow signals, journal. Why? Because it gives you an overview of long-term profitability or not. So even if you follow signals, scribble them down, write down, okay, follow this signal, this was my profit. I follow this signal, this was my loss, and make sure that you use the same risk on every trade you take, on every signal you trade. Not think, oh yeah, okay, Sol's good, he's in a winning streak, let me put like 4R on the trade instead of 1R. No, but I still believe you're afraid of losing then, if I read it like that. If it was drilled into you to be very competitive, if it was drilled into you to go out to win, not lose, then you're afraid of losing. Exactly. So that is the afraid of losing part. And that's what you need to be okay with, because that is just different. Like, that is exactly what it is. You hate losing. You grew up competitive. You grew up drilled into you that you go out to win. And trading is not about that. But subconsciously, and like saying it out loud gives you like the first step, but subconsciously it eats at you if you lose. So you'll do everything in your power to not lose. But the market just sometimes goes against you, and sometimes you just lose. So the loss is way harder on you than any win does. So that's first step. Work on that. I actually research that more. Not asking for an answer right now, but go dig into this part because, well, it's the first thing maybe that popped up in your head. But at the same time, I think there is a key in that of being more eased with losing. And send me a DM so I'll put you on the list for one of the one-on-one sessions, if you want, of course. So yeah, that's the part about. Okay, that's also what we talk about in here, right? So thanks for your inputs too. Ian, what's my thoughts on Sol's idea of Bitcoin dropping to 89k before a pump to the upside to 140k plus? Good afternoon to you too, man. Possible. That's my opinion on it. That it's possible. Like with everything in this market. 89k, and then 98k. 98, you said, or 80? Did he say 89? 89 is even lower. God damn it. Yeah, that's this. Low here, low here. Yeah, basically he says it can drop to this area. Before it bounces, we have a weekly daily fair value gap. Let's see how it looks on the weekly. Yeah, it's a weekly fair value gap. Here. Where is the golden pocket on this move up? Yeah, possible. Definitely. I believe we won't go lower, or at least won't go lower than 98k, but yeah, possible. So yeah, what I think of it is not, it's not in my playbook right now, honestly. I think like 99.9% would be shaken out by then. So my question will also be, if we get that low, well, where's everybody gone and where is the money to be made? There is no money to be made. So honestly, I want to see it stay above, especially stay above 98k. Can we see lower? Yeah, of course we can. That's always a possibility. And would it feel over by then? Yeah, but it also feels over right now, like for a lot of people. Like there's fear in the market. So it says sell technicals, which well is about the same as fear, and strong sell means extreme fear. But we all know what happens. Like majority is usually wrong, right? So yeah, possible, but not. Well, we can not guaranteed. That's basically, yeah. We could go down there, move up, and still we can go down. Let's say we can go down there and still be bullish higher time frame. So as you can see here, we made a high here, lower high here, high here. So basically, it's over when we drop below this blue line here, below 74. That's that. But so in here, so if you zoom out, like in here, it's still, yeah, can go every way, right? We're still having a trend line on the weekly here, which is for now around 94k if we drop here. So yeah, again, possible. I'm not saying it's going to happen. It doesn't feel like it, but yeah, at the same time, we just don't know. And I think that makes this market even more harder to endure because it's so unpredictable. Stu said, I think my brothers want me to fail. Probably don't. Yeah. But Stu, I'm going to tell you one thing. This is all you. You think your brothers are wanting you to fail. You feel you need to prove them wrong. Nobody said to you, or did he say, or did your brother say, yeah, prove. Well, we don't. We want you to fail. Please prove us wrong. It's all your thoughts. It's all your feelings. Um, and as long as you don't actually take the time to dig into those feelings, I honestly believe that trading it will stay is like a cesspit, right? If you go into trading knowing that you feel this way, it will automatically have an effect on you. Um, and what I'm saying is, I think there is a lot of subjectivity in those thoughts. So if you want to battle those thoughts, my first thing would say, okay, go ask your brothers. Guys, do you want me to fail? I have the feeling that you want me to fail. Is that true? Because it helps me if you tell me that it's not true, to hear it from you. That could be a step you can take, but at the same time, just write down, well, the way you feel. But it's good to think about it. I know you're on the road a lot, so your minds get like thinking about a lot of stuff. But you need to label it different. Start labeling it different. So again, I honestly believe that there is things to work with for you. Yeah, because you don't need to prove anybody wrong. I think, and of course that doesn't change the fact that you feel that way, but you do you. Like, and of course it's not that simple as just saying, yeah, I'm doing me and you do you, and I'll just stick to my plans and stick to my goals, and I don't care and I don't give a fuck about what anybody thinks of it. I think you should read. Do you read books or listen to ebooks? You can listen to the subtle art of not giving a fuck. Um, Best book I read about how to let go of what others think, of what others feel about you, or well, mainly, basically, what we think is 9 out of 10 times is not true. People don't care, and of course, with brothers is family, but we think so much about what others might think of me. Like if I go out and I'm not dressed well or not well enough or I don't have my makeup on or whatever it is or whatever, and I go out, I feel like that everybody's watching me. Man, 99% of people I come across forget me. Right? That's how it goes. Man, everybody is too well caught up in their own phones and their own lives and thinking about the same things as you think about. Okay, what somebody else think? So yeah, it's I think it's a hard thing to work on, but it's workable. It's workable. If you don't try, you will always fail. If you try and fail, at least you can say you tried. Yeah, that's your saying, but honestly, I don't think you believe that saying, and that's the like how do you say it? That's how do you say it? That's like the contradiction in what I read and what I know about you, and it's great to have a saying, but start to live up to that saying. And I think the feelings that you described before you said what you were you said the saying, they contradict the saying, right? Because you hate losing, but basically losing is trying and is labeled as failing. But losing should not be labeled as failing. Losing should just be part of the game if we talk about trading. So yeah, we can talk about this a lot, but go with these thoughts and write them down for yourself. And if you want to vent on them, please let me know, and we'll book something in if you want. YCB never does live, man. I think the guy is so busy in real life, and he has us to do the lives. He did, I think, at some point. He did at some point. Well, it's a long time ago. I think 3 years ago or something. He did some videos, um, no lives, but he did some recordings. Um, but I'm not sure why he doesn't. Um, Maybe he is like occupied in real life. I know he is a busy man, has a lot of things going on and stuff. Not only the Discord. So, um, plus, I know he doesn't give a fuck and he doesn't care. But being a crypto wealthy person on his level, well, yeah, it can also attract the wrong kind of people. So I think that is. I'm not sure if that's how he feels about it, and but it is something you need to, well, also think about. But at the same time, he doesn't care about anybody, and he's doxxed, and we know who he is, and so yeah. But you can ask him. If you ask him, yeah, he will give you an answer rather than me telling you what I think he is his idea. Yeah, it would. But like I said again, um, ask him if that is what you want or would see or would love to do. Yeah, yeah. I cannot think for him, right? And I cannot make decisions for him. So you should ask him. Yeah. All right, all right, all right, all right. Any last things you guys want to talk about, or want me to discuss, or want me to look at? Um, Bitcoin, just yeah, hovering around that 108. You're welcome, Madcap. You're welcome. So let's put everything back on the chart so we can get a good view of how things. All right, there is everything back. So yeah, lower time frame, same. So if we look at lower time frame, 15 minutes, again, we're moving below major EMAs. So longs, Ether did, I guess, well, not really a sweep here, but I've been trading them less. I do still like them as entry points. So like yesterday when I was looking at, I put out like the Bitcoin area of interest, I will still look at a 3-bar reversal in those areas. So yes, I do still trade them, but and you all know I was developing that indicator and all these, well, coding and all that kind of stuff. And what I found out is that I was too biased by it. So because of focusing too much on the 3-bar reversal, it became like the only truth. While, well, there's so many things you can see in a chart. So yes, I will still look at 3-bar reversals. I was just like looking this morning and saying, okay, yeah, yesterday we broke down, back down on the 15200 EMA, and then you see here 1, 2, 3, and this big bar that reversed. Like this case, it didn't reverse, but was a continuation. But it was a retest of the EMAs, and then we had a 3-bar reversal here. So I'm trying to be less strict with the 3-bar reversal. I think what happens a lot of times is that yes, we need to be objective in the way we trade, and you need to have a certain strategy. But what the indicator did for me was that it like blurred everything around it. So I was so focused on we need volume, and so I think the break away, going through the stuff with mom, also basically gave me a reset of, okay, how do I think about my trading, and how do I want to trade, and what kind of trader do I want to be. Yeah, still, but I still do that. So, but I like to look at areas of interest, like above or below. I still use above and below the 50 EMA, 3-bar reversals. So yeah, it's not like I'm out of the 3-bar reversal thing. So I still use it. But yeah, that's kind of what it is. We evolve as traders, and you find you gotta stay evolving, right? Not too much. Like I said, sometimes you gotta stick to stuff. So yeah. All right, guys. Tomorrow is Thursday, right? Yeah, it's Wednesday today. Not sure if I'm here tomorrow because the missus took a day off, and well, we need to go shopping. It's always fun shopping with the missus. But I'm not sure if we're going in the afternoon. I will be here in the morning doing a live. If not, I will be here Friday morning. Wishing you guys a good day for now. And like I say, if you ever need me or need anything, just send me a message or tag me somewhere, and we'll talk, and I'll try to answer. So for now, wishing you all a good day, and talk to you guys again soon. Ciao, ciao. Bye bye.